Hello, everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome to another One Stop Wrestling podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm joined today by the gruesome twosome of Alfonso and Rohit. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. It's been a busy holiday season for us all. We're back now for our first podcast of 2024. I'm excited. How are you guys doing? And is it good to be back?
Yep, it's very good to had good holidays. Some good resting over the holiday period too, must say. And yeah, and my tag team partner Alfonso, how you been?
All good, all good. I love the new tag team name. I think we can be champions someday with the Twosome Gruesome. I think it's an amazing name.
Mhm.
And
Thanks.
I
And
don't think
Alex
there
can be
was,
our Paul Heyman.
of course, I don't think there was only great wrestling during the holidays.
Mhm.
I think there was amazing wrestling during the
Yeah.
holidays. I
Hmm.
saw one of my favorite matches of all time. And Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan, Brian Danielson, however the fuck you want to call him, is the best wrestler of all time. That match was amazing. I was watching barely early in the morning here in El Salvador. And
With Okada.
yeah, and I just love wrestling. After that match, I can only say I love wrestling. I think it was amazing.
Yeah. And there's our
Yeah.
first F bomb of the year as well. Well done,
I'm
Alfonso.
sorry.
I mean, from New Japan standpoint, they're moving in a positive direction because what I've realized, like, probably towards like the last 2 months of last year was like the fans in Japan weren't very happy. So we'll have to wait and see what direction they go. But that's for another time, I suppose.
Indeed, yeah. Lots of great wrestling over
Hmm.
the holiday season. But for today's podcast, we're going to concentrate on AEW. Now, we're going to talk about.
Boo! Yeah, boo!
It could be interesting. It could be interesting. So, we're going to talk about the things AEW can improve in 2024. Now, 2023, I mean, it is based on opinions, but I think in general, AEW didn't have the best year in 2023. We saw
No.
a decline in ticket sales. Arenas weren't being filled out. We saw plenty of those images on social
Yeah.
media of half-empty arenas.
I think it did pick up a little bit towards the last few weeks of the year, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if that's going to continue into this year or not. But
but
yeah,
just yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah, just in general though.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
Yeah, we have
Mhm.
seen a lot of
I
that.
do agree.
Um, Backstage issues. Obviously, there was the
Hmm.
drama at All In with CM Punk and Jack Perry.
Hmm.
A few people have tweeted, things here and there, like Britt Baker not happy with creative. The Hardys have come out and said similar
Yeah,
things.
Danhausen, Jericho stuff that
Exactly, the
recently
Jericho
happened.
stuff of recent times. So there's been a lot of negativity backstage. Ratings.
Yeah.
Some people don't put stock in ratings. That's fair. I personally do.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
ratings have been stagnant for at least 6 months now. They sort of, with Dynamite, they float around 800,000. They're not really growing an
Yeah.
audience. And I guess a lot of this has probably come to fruition a bit more, or it's coincided with WWE actually doing really well and having a really good year, which has maybe made it stick out a bit more than it might have. But it wasn't the best year for AEW. And we're going to look at things in this podcast that they can improve in 2024. Now, I want to
First
make
of
it clear.
all,
Go on,
but first
Alfonso.
of all, I just want to say a disclaimer. I'm not a robot. I'm not a bot. I'm a human being from El Salvador, and I'm just giving my opinion. I really love AEW. Like they have a lot of nice wrestling. They have a lot of good wrestling. They have a lot of singular wrestlers that I wish they use more, or that
Yeah.
I get to see on my TV every week, and I like to see them on my TV every week.
Mhm.
Like, I love Samoa Joe as their new champ. I love that Hook is getting a chance, even though it doesn't make sense, and Tony Khan is behaving like a child sometimes. But I think they have a lot of good things going on, and they need to
Yeah.
keep on working on those good things they have. But yeah, they have a lot of work to do. It's normal because they're a new company. It's a very young company. You don't have a lot of experience in that company right now at the head of the table, pun intended. And I think it's going to be a very hard year for them to see where they land with the TV rights and everything, because
Mm.
I don't know if AEW can still have ROH, Rampage, Dynamite, and Collision. They need to choose like two shows maybe and give ROH to somebody else. Maybe Christopher Daniels take charge of Ring of Honor or something like that, because AEW needs work, and you cannot have Fulham, have the Jaguars, and AEW on your plate as a human being. I think it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Interesting idea with that, Alfonso, is what if they rebrand Rampage to ROH Rampage?
They could do that, but they need to do like a live show. I think one of the things
Yeah,
that I
have it
think,
be live or something. Yeah.
because I think the TV tapings, like
Mhm.
nowadays, information is very easy to get. So
Mhm.
spoilers are very easy to know. So
Mhm.
I personally I don't watch Rampage.
Yeah, neither do
Like
I.
I
Totally.
watch some matches. I watch some matches when I know the result already. But I
Yeah.
never go blind to see a Rampage show. And I remember that at the beginning of AW, Rampage was, and you cannot miss this show. It was the same with Collision when CM Punk was the head creative, apparently. And you get some matches because there were storylines that you want to see the fruition. And right now we're getting a lot of awesome matches on TV for free. And I'm that's okay. That's okay. You can have those, but you also need storytelling and a story wise TV. And we are not getting that a lot in AEW. Tony Khan said that he wants to look more like New Japan Pro Wrestling. But if you go and see New Japan Pro Wrestling, they have some amazing stories.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I think we have talked about this before, and I think people don't think that New Japan has good stories because they only see the pay-per-views. But if you
It's true.
follow closely New Japan, you can see a lot of character work. You have Master Wato that has been an amazing character work for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Naito win at Wrestle Kingdom that was amazing. People were behind him. Everybody was clapping around, and Sanada crying at the end of Wrestle Kingdom was beautiful because
Yeah.
there were stories that you were trying to follow with amazing wrestling next to it. You don't need to go full comedy or full entertainment like WWE, but you
Yeah.
still need stories to make people care.
It that's true. It's like recently with the whole evil Tamatonga situation, since Tamatonga announced apparently he's gonna be leaving.
Yeah,
Evil's
yeah, the
taken
hacking.
his Yeah, Evil's already taken his belt and then deleted his profile of the roster page. So, that's no storyline for you. But yeah, I, I do agree. Well said, Alfonso, because I do think a lot of people sleep on that aspect. And if you're not gonna watch, which is fair enough, there's a lot of wrestling to watch, and if you can't follow because it's in a different country or whatever language, yeah, it's a bit difficult. But like, you kind of can't convincingly then make the point say it has no storyline when you don't know the product enough. But
Exactly.
yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. Good points, Alfonso. And
for
like you
sure.
said with the disclaimer,
Yeah,
this is, I agree, this is not, we are not here to bash AEW. I
no,
was a huge AEW fan when it first came out, the first 2 or 3 years. I absolutely love the product. I want the product to do well. I
yeah,
want them to succeed. We all want them to succeed. This isn't a let's come on and slander AEW. No, this is constructive because we want them to do better and we feel like they could do better. Now, you mentioned Alfonso storytelling, um, characters, and things like that. I know your time is limited, Alfonso, and you may have to shoot off during this. But so, what else do you think can make AEW better in 2024?
I think they need a brand split
Yeah,
because they have too many wrestlers, and I think it's sad because Tony Khan wanted to be like a saver of wrestling and just hire everyone he can and give them TV time. But now you have too many wrestlers. You have a roster that is loaded with a lot of people, and people get mad because of that,
Mm.
because they don't get enough time, even though they're in the roster. So I think they need to like cut down a lot of people and just have like a slimmer roster. I think it's good to have like a mid-sized roster because of injuries and things like that. But like, when was the last time we got behind somebody and make them a star in AEW, like a men
they
wrestler?
have no stars.
Yeah.
Like right now, I think they're trying to push Hook, and that's great. I want to see Hook go over and be this huge star. It's the same with Warlow. Finally, he's in a faction with Adam Cole, and you feel like something is bubbling. Like he can dethrone Adam Cole eventually, and that's okay. But do you remember Andretti? Andretti?
Yeah, what happened to
Yeah.
him? He got the big
Andre.
win over Chris Jericho, and then nothing happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think people attack a lot of WWE about not striking when the iron is hot, but AW also does that a lot. And
They did it with Wardlow after
yeah,
his feud with MJF.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And right now, I think one of the worst things about AW is that is the booking is very, I don't know. It's either you like it or you hate it. It's not an in between. Because right now, yesterday, in the end, scene or image we saw is a tag team between Darby Allen and Sting against the Young Bucks. And a lot of people don't want to see that because we wanted Sting to have like one last one on one match. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that it is because he's old and everything, but you have a short match then. Why getting the jump bucks in just because they're coming back? I don't know. The I don't know if the reaction was as huge as they were expecting it to be, because I didn't feel like the place came unglued when they came on my TV.
From what I heard, it was not much of a reaction at all. I don't know if I was missing something, but I didn't hear anything really. Um, but yeah, you're right, Alfonso, and it's great that Tony Khan can give all of these superstars a paycheck every month. You know, if AEW wasn't a thing, and if he wasn't around, then you wouldn't have all these great talents being paid, which is a
Mm-hmm.
great thing in itself. However, you are right, there are too many, and the roster is very bloated. And it seems as if he just signs people, um, you know, just on a whim almost,
Yeah.
without really thinking about it. And that's an issue for them at the moment. Rohit, will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What's the biggest thing for you that AEW needs to do in 2024?
I think we like even like the dirt sheet seems a bit confused about like the booking structure, and it does seem like it's mainly just Tony Khan making matches, and I don't know who else is involved. And obviously, you don't want that to be transparent, but I feel like we need to find out that if there is a booking team that needs an overall, if there isn't, you need to put something in place. And you have people there that can do a good job that have experience in the industry. Like you have uh, Paul White there that can put some input in there. You have obviously Kenny Omega who knows some stuff, especially on the Joshi side and the Japanese wrestling aspect. You have Christopher Daniels who is working, helping backstage, but like
Mark,
we don't know. Yeah, Mark Henry
Mark
was another one.
Henry,
Yeah,
D Malenko, yeah.
exactly. So you have people there, and so I'm not sure what quite the disconnect is there, and I feel like having like a they need to focus on that internal structure where you can have a booking team maybe, and then like Tony Khan gets his input or can override things like a bit like a Vince, but
The
like
thing,
it's not just him.
but we don't know. That's
We
the
don't know
thing.
what it is. That's the issue as well. So that could be the case. Which, if it is, then we need to get
You
rid
have
of
to
some of
overhaul
those
it.
people. Yeah, and overhaul it and get new people in. But if there isn't, because from what we can tell, what like people are reporting, people are just bashing that it's just Tony Khan making the matches and booking. So we don't know who else is involved. We just don't know, which is fine. We shouldn't really know, but at the same time, if that's the only reason we know, that's why he's getting attacked a lot and he's getting blamed for everything a lot because that's all we know. It's like with WWE, yeah, we say Triple H, Pete Dunne, all that. We know a couple of names, but we know the machine is so much bigger that like it's not just them, but those are the people we always send the tweets out or be like, oh, he's messing up or that's his fault, whatever, because that's the only people we know. So
I
yeah,
think it's very noble from him to take all the blame,
true.
but I think it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
stupid to take all the blame. I think
yeah,
it's very
yeah,
difficult. It's very difficult. Like I
hmm,
wouldn't want that responsibility, because
yeah.
sometimes you become too much of a fanboy, too much of a fan, and then you
And I
start
think
booking
that's
things,
coming through. Yeah, a little bit.
Completely
and that's what
agree.
happened with CM Punk,
Yeah. Hmm.
because he couldn't handle an ego, because CM Punk has an ego. I love CM Punk, you guys know,
Hmm.
but
So do
you have
I.
to treat him. You have to treat him as a coworker, and not and not as an idol. You know.
Yeah.
So you need to understand how to manage that, because you cannot have things like all in going on, and then you have this security clearance stuff, and then you have these fights and nobody knows anything,
Mm.
and I think that hurts more the company
Yeah.
than helps them. I think it's
It's
very.
true.
I think it's the same as with governments. we we need transparency to see what's going on behind the scenes. Like if
Hmm.
something goes to shit, you need to know what's going on, what's really going on,
Like
because
who to
then you
blame, who to replace, how to improve something, how to change
yeah.
something to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about today is the overhaul of booking and decisions and how to manage a wrestling company. but
Yes.
but that's very like hard to see or to understand, because we don't really know, because of the lack of transparency.
Yeah.
What we can see and we can say is my second point of the night, and is that the pacing of AW, I don't understand it. I think the pacing of the shows, the pacing of the pay-per-views, they don't understand how to give the
Mm.
viewers a pausing moment just to understand what's going on, understand the
Yeah.
story.
Completely agree. It's
Mm.
100 miles an hour, isn't it? You don't get time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
digest anything and take it
Mm.
in.
And but it's because you have too many wrestlers, you try to put too much on TV every week, and then you get
Yeah.
like, this is too much. That's
Yeah.
sometimes that helps a lot with Raw, with the 3 hours, and sometimes too much time is the worst, like the 3 hours of Raw. It's the same thing. But if you remember, from there was like the gold and black era from NXT,
Yeah.
and there were like 2 matches or 3 matches on every show, only 3 matches, and then everything else was explaining the stories and progressing the story with promos and everything, and you enjoy it a lot because you were like just waiting to see 1 or 2 great matches, and then enjoy a story for the next week great match. And I think that's how
Mm.
it should be. But
I mean, early days in
again,
TNA, they only had about an hour of TV, so they kind of did something similar, like two or three matches, mainly stories. They had some short matches and promos and everything else to advance the story, so could work.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with what you've said, Alfonso. My my point, I guess. Now, obviously, you guys know from the group chat, I've been a little bit harsh, maybe. I haven't been a fan of the product for over a year now. I think there are a lot of little issues which you guys have mentioned. I think all of them can be solved with management. Like you mentioned, Alfonso, there is an issue in management.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to sound horrible, but I believe a lot of this and a lot of the issues that go on in AEW are Tony Khan's fault, directly or indirectly. I think he has a lot on his plate, clearly. Like you said, Alfonso, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Fulham Football Club, and AEW, it's a hell of a lot to manage. I think he needs help. At this present time, I don't think he has his ears open and is willing to listen to any constructive criticism. I think that is clear from his media scrums. I don't know if you guys listened to the World's End media scrum, but it was baffling, to say the least, some of the things Tony came out with. He was asked a series of questions by various reporters, and most of his answers were, he would give a short answer to the question, then he would go off on a tangent and say, you know, the Continental Classic has been great. We're doing great shows. We're on the hottest run we've been on in forever. Dynamite's ratings are good. Collision's ratings are good. Everything's great. We have great superstars. And that, to me, tells me that he isn't addressing the issues. He's not listening to what the problems are, where clearly the Dynamite ratings aren't great. You know, the Continental Classic, okay, in his mind was great and the matches were incredible, but at the end of the day, what did it actually mean and who actually got over from the tournament? I don't think Tony is listening to constructive criticism from anybody at the moment. And it's really affecting the shows because in his mind, he thinks everything is great. Why do I need to change? When a lot of the fans are saying, you know, we need some character development. We need more storylines, slow the pace down. And I think he's taking all of that as shots at AEW. And I understand that because it's like his baby almost, isn't it? It's his company. He's put all of his money into it. He doesn't want it to fail. And I think people can understand that. But I think there comes a time where he has to say, okay, you know, we've done it this way for 5 years. We are struggling a little bit. Ratings aren't going up. I need a bit of help. And like you said, Rohit, there are minds in that company.
Yeah.
Paul White, Mark Henry, Dean Malenko.
I mean, you have Jeff Jarrett, who has founded and run a company before. Well, twice. Once was a bit of a flop with Global Force, but
exactly. They
that.
all have experience.
Yeah.
In running a wrestling show week to week and being a part of a wrestling show week to week, and they can help Tony. Now, I don't know who he's listening to, if he's listening to anybody. Obviously, we know the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are EVPs. Whether he's listening to them, I don't know, because Kenny does have obviously experience in wrestling, but in terms of mainstream American television, the Young Bucks don't really have any experience at that. And I think it shows when you look at what happened with the CM Punk situation. Now, if you're Vince McMahon, you sit the two guys down and you say, this is what I want. I want you to go out. I want you to leave your personal things in the back, your personal issues. I want you to go out there and make me some money. And it didn't happen. Vince McMahon got Edge and Matt Hardy to have matches against each other.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon got Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels to go out and make money for him. And
I also think in terms of the locker room, there's a lack of like that old school character, which has been lost in multiple areas, like in different companies. For example, when there was a problem, not just Vince used to sit down, but you used to have like
The
wrestlers
Undertaker.
court. Yeah, Undertaker, you had wrestlers court. AEW doesn't seem to have that either. So of course, when there's loose cannon characters, things are going to happen, and it
Yeah,
doesn't bode well when active wrestlers are also EVPs. Now I don't know
I
if
completely agree, Rohit. They should not be EVPs.
yeah. Again, I don't know how like it works there. Like if they are flaunting their powers and say, "Oh, because I don't like you, I'm gonna make sure I don't have a match with you." Or I don't know if they do that. I can see them doing that. I can also see them not doing that. I
But
just
that
don't know.
that's selfish and egotist. That
Exactly.
comes across selfish and
Yeah.
egotistical because you are not thinking about the company. You are
Hmm.
thinking about yourself. If you were thinking about the company, surely you'd say, you know what, these ratings could skyrocket. We could make a lot of money off pay-per-view buys. Let's
Hmm.
do this and make some money. Whereas they're
Yeah.
not. It doesn't seem like they're doing that. It seems like they're in their own bubble and doing
Yeah.
what they want to do.
Like when they were taking pop shots at CM Punk, I thought they were going to continue to do that for a few weeks, and then Punk actually returns and confronts them, and you have like this
Exactly.
massive blow
Exactly.
up and storyline that can go into like a, I don't know, a match or something. I don't know. You could have like such crazy matches, that they could do that, you know, either as
And
a tag team or group or one on ones, and I don't
and you
know.
they could have made so much money off them.
Yeah.
And again, it all goes back to management. Tony could have managed that situation and got the guys to work their shit out.
Yeah.
Now, something doesn't seem right. Again, I'm going back to management. Why did Cody Rhodes leave? Obviously, there was some fan backlash against him being a babyface at the time, but still, he's left. He signed an NDA. Nobody knows what happened. He's gone on. He's main evented WrestleMania, and he may become the champion next year.
Yep.
So you've lost Cody Rhodes, who may have been a wise, mouth in that locker room because he has been around mainstream TV for a long time.
He was
And
involved in the like creative side and managing of the
yeah,
show as well, I believe. So that's
and
also a big loss.
maybe he didn't see eye to eye with the EVPs. That is just me speculating. Obviously, we
I mean, he
don't know
did.
any of that.
From
But
what he said is that they want to go in a different direction. That's from what I heard. So yeah.
but yeah.
Mm.
But clearly,
Yeah.
there's an issue in management
Of
there.
course. Yeah.
Um, and another point, obviously, we lost. They lost Cody Rhodes.
Hmm.
They they Tony Khan fired his biggest moneymaker, and he is now with the opposition and could make millions and millions. He was their biggest. I'm talking about CM Punk, obviously.
I
He was
mean,
their
did he
biggest.
fire them? It seems like he told Brian to fire.
Well, and again, that might be another issue with management. Why has he got a disciplinary committee doing that for him? Um,
I
But
and
that's
mean, the
okay.
decision is fine to make, but in terms
But
of
that
who
okay,
needs
okay,
to
okay.
say that,
go on,
would
Alfonso.
That's not to have a committee to help him. That's okay.
yeah.
You have Daniel Bryan finding people. That's okay. You need a Russell skirt or whatever it was like in WWE. People to help people because wrestlers are not going to listen to Tony Khan because he fears for his life and everything like that. No, it's true. It's
That
true.
that's that's another thing he said at the World's End media scrum, which again baffled me. They asked him the question about Chris Jericho and the allegations against him, and he kept responding with, "AEW has an amazing safety record. AEW is the safest place to work. I would put our safety record against anybody." And and a lot of people are thinking, how can you say that when 3 months ago you said you were fearing for your life? It
Exactly,
doesn't make sense.
and I think something that needs to be addressed is that Tony Khan needs to have a tougher skin. I don't know how to say it because
Yeah.
like people
Yes, you're
people
right there.
have been shitting on Vince McMahon and every shitty thing that he has done because he's an ugly human being. We can say that he has done a lot of perverse
Yeah.
things and a lot of shitty things and he has treated a lot of bad. No,
Yeah.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
He has.
Like we have
He's an arsehole.
and but the thing is that it doesn't matter in the machine that WWE is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Tony Khan this needs to pop a few pills, hit the gym, get jacked, and then they'll be like, "What are you gonna do about it?" If I say, "You always know, if I want you to wrestle, I want you to wrestle." I don't know,
No,
maybe that way,
you know, to be
you think
honest,
that'll put people off?
maybe I don't know.
to be to be honest, I think one of the biggest thing that WWE could have done is Vince McMahon becoming a character.
Mm,
100%. If
yeah,
you don't have Mr. McMahon, you don't have Steve Austin.
No, 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 but it's also about the management of the company. Because if you have somebody like Vince McMahon trying to be a character and putting himself out every week, and he's taking every single like fan critique, and you don't see like Seth Rollins going online and saying, "Oh shit, people are booing me. People are saying this about my reign and everything."
Yeah.
And like, why is Tony Khan so petty about USA Network just saying something bad about their product?
Yeah,
It's like
because
mm,
oh,
it's like
sorry, I was
when
going to say, Alfonso, Tony
yeah
Khan got Jinder Mahal more over than WWE, have done over the last 2 years.
book of the
yeah he
year,
was saying
book
he
of the
was trending topic for one day,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like AW was supposed to be the alternative,
hmm
and it doesn't feel like an alternative anymore.
No, and we want it to be an alternative. We want to be able to enjoy a great wrestling show
And
that
they are still, but they, I know, yeah, yeah. Hard to Kill. I think, I
Yeah.
think Hard to Kill is going to be an awesome show. Like right now, the roster is getting some great names. I think Hammerstone against Josh Alexander is
Rush.
going to be an awesome, yeah, it's going to be an awesome match, and I think that's okay because TNA has always done things their way.
Yeah.
Not always it has to
It's
work,
not
but
always, yeah,
sometimes
not
it does.
always the right way or it has worked. Yeah, I agree.
Like they're like cockroach. You cannot kill TNA, and that's great for them. That's an alternative.
yeah,
hmm For sure.
yeah.
And AW needs to put it. You know what is one of the things that I love the most about AW is the promos backstage after the matches.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all some of those are awesome when they're like
Why why
bleeding
don't
and
you put
sweating. Yeah,
why
hmm
don't you put that on TV instead
yeah.
of
Yeah.
having instead of going to another match right away? Have those
hmm
moments.
But
Let us
again,
care.
this all comes down to management and what Tony believes is right or what he is being told is right. I
hmm
don't think he's listening to the right people. I obviously mentioned Punk. He fired Punk. I
Yeah.
mean, Punk's was the biggest merch seller in AEW by a mile. He
Yeah.
went to WWE and was the biggest merch seller there. Cody was the biggest merch seller in WWE in the whole of 2023. Tony also managed to let Jade Cargill slip through his finger. How do these things happen? Like,
But
uh,
WWE also let Swerve go and let also Pac go and let
that's
also
true.
Miro
Yeah.
go and Andrade go. I
But
think
I think
I
there's a difference in star power, though, between those guys and someone like CM Punk and the potential of Jade Cargill.
but for me, like if you take Punk, if you take Cargill, and if you take Cody Rhodes, is you don't want that star because you're betting on other stars to go over. And let's be honest, Adam Hangman Page could have been the biggest star in wrestling for a long while, and he blew it himself, like going against Punk, saying that about Colt Cabana and everything like that.
Stupid.
Because
I
Yeah.
yeah,
mean,
because
yeah. Mhm.
because because Hangman could have been like the biggest star in wrestling. He was for me he was because I don't know if he still is or he can be the biggest babyface that AEW has.
He was great. I loved Hangman back then.
I mean, he was like people in New Japan apparently was looking at him as a potential like future IWGP World Champion potentially. So
Yeah,
there's
and
that
and
too.
and and when you talk about Punk leaving AEW,
Yeah,
you were saying you were thinking sides, and I think that's a
mhm,
bad thing.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You sit down and you work it out. Look, Shawn Michaels, by all accounts, in the mid-90s was an absolute dickhead, right? To
Yep.
work with.
yeah,
Everybody has said that. Vince McMahon still saw the money he drew and worked with him, or tried to work with him. Maybe he let him off a little bit, but Shawn made him lots of money. CM Punk would have made AEW and Tony Khan lots of money. And
Yep.
I understand, it may have got a bit too far and things backstage, but ultimately the bottom line is you have fired your biggest moneymaker. That
exactly. Yeah.
business wise, it doesn't make sense. And again, for me, that is an issue with management.
Yeah.
For me, I'm
But if
just
the
going to say,
situation became untenable, I guess then it
yeah,
makes
exactly.
sense. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I do agree with what you're saying, Alex. Yeah.
I'm about to leave you guys because I have to go back to work.
No
But
problem.
before I go, I just want to say about CM Punk something is that
Yeah.
for me it was cathartic. I don't know how to say it, like
Cathartic.
catharsis. Yeah, that word. That's a very
Cathartic. Yeah,
difficult word for me in
Yeah.
English.
it is.
It is.
It's like el hijo del vikingo. Uh, but yeah, it's a very like for me that was for CM Punk. It was the therapy he needed to go before coming back to WWE. Like
Yeah.
CM Punk was never going to go back to the Indies.
No.
That's why he never took a wrestling job in the Indies.
I mean, maybe he would have gone to ROH if
No,
it was still
no,
independent.
no,
No, but
no,
like
no,
Yeah.
no.
he said on his comeback promo, didn't he?
Mm,
2014, I left professional wrestling.
yeah.
No, sorry. When he left ROH, he said, and went to WWE, he said, I left professional wrestling. He said,
Mhm.
when he returned on Rampage, I am now back in professional wrestling.
Yep.
Almost insinuating that he's back in an indie type situation. Then obviously he goes back to WWE and says, I am home. And you were right, Alfonso, I think. Yeah. It was like therapy for him. Yeah. And now he's back.
And I think it's the nature of the wrestler. Like you
Yeah.
couldn't have that guy in AEW for a long time.
Yeah.
He was going to go back to WWE because that's the kind of superstar he is. Because he's bigger than an indie wrestler, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a good thing. That's not anything. Like I know that he maybe wanted to go on to wrestle in Wrestle Kingdom, and I think that will be okay. It will have been like great, like Brian Danielson, because
Yeah.
there are have different kind of wrestlers. But then again, we call back to what the fuck is AEW doing? Are you the alternative? Are you copying it, or why? What do you want to do with your wrestling?
Yeah.
And you need to have an identity. Like, who are you? What are you putting on TV? Why are you putting these shows like that? Why do you have so many pay-per-views? Like, for me, it's
Yeah.
amazing to see how this year Triple H has showed that we're going to have the most global pay-per-view lineup in whole history right now with pay-per-views in Australia, in France, in Germany, I think the UK
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. I feel like the
And
Germany one is to counter program all in, but
of
hey,
course,
hey.
but of
But
course,
yeah.
But it's smart, isn't
and
it? Business wise.
and
But they're not
and
competition. Well, I'm gonna leave it
and
there. Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that Tony Khan and New Japan Pro Wrestling are going
Mhm.
to do a Forbidden Door in Japan,
I mean, it's
and they're
got to
going to
happen, right?
go
Surely at some point.
and they're going to go have Money in the Bank in Japan maybe sometime, and that will be great because once again, competition is great for wrestling. We need that. So
Mhm.
that's this is not us bashing AEW. This is us like, please do better because we need you.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
completely
course.
agree. We want them to be at their best. So,
100%.
Without AEW, we could have maybe still be in the Vince McMahon era of creative.
and without AEW, we ourselves don't get to talk. We might not get the chance to do this podcast because there might not be enough to talk about. Other people podcasting, other people that that work in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Again, things might suffer because there's no AEW. So we want them to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to do well. It's we can identify the issues, we can talk about them, and we can be constructive because we want them to do well. The wrestling business is better if AEW are doing well. I think that's the bottom
Yeah.
line here.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be awesome wrestling in 2024 because I think is the crisis going on right now with AW is going to get like a lot of good wrestling because this is when you are in crisis that you put your best work out there. And I think Tony
Yeah.
Khan knows that.
Yeah.
And 2024 is the year of the TV rights. So people need to put a lot of an amazing wrestling to get the best deals possible.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lot to
yeah,
fight for there.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna get Brian Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. 2 already, or 3, whichever one it is. So that's a good start to the year, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, Alfonso. It's like a wounded lion, isn't it? They come
Yeah.
out fighting,
Hopefully.
and they do better with everything in general. I think we'll wrap it up, guys. I think
Hmm.
we've done a good job of highlighting the issues and trying to offer some constructive criticism. Yeah, again, like I said, it's not a bashing. We really
Yeah.
want them to do well. So, let's hope 2024 is a great year for AEW and all wrestling alike. Before
Yep.
we go, guys, is there anything you want to plug? Anything else coming up that you want the fans to know about?
I mean, if you want to watch some great wrestling, there's great wrestling on the weekend with Battle of the Belts by AEW. You have Battle in the Valley from New Japan. You have two. Well, I'm not sure if Snake Eyes is airing or if it's like a taping, but you have like two TNA shows like Hard to Kill and Snake Eyes, and the stars will be there. Like a lot of big name wrestlers will be present. So just watch what you want to watch. Pick something from the bunch and enjoy it.
like let's be honest.
Yeah.
The Battle of the Valley card is amazing. Okada against Osprey can be a 5-star match.
Hmm.
Tagaki, Takagi,
Yeah,
Shingo
Shingo
Takagi.
Shingo
Takagi. Yeah.
Takagi, yeah,
Mhm.
against Moxley in an ODQ can be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think Eddie Kingston fighting against Gabe Kidd can be pretty cool.
Ga-
Lots,
Gabe
lots of.
Kidd is the future. I'm telling you, he's so good. Like his promos are so good.
And I'm pretty sure, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Julia is losing against Trisha Dora in the Strong Woman title because Julia and Camille are going to appear in the Rumble for WWE because
Her
because
contract
Triple
isn't
H.
up yet, though. That's the thing. Unless they negotiate something, her contract's up in like March, I think.
I just know that, yeah, but she needs to go take English classes and things like that. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure,
she
and I'm
said
pretty sure
afterwards
Triple
she's
H.
gonna take a break after her contract. So probably I'm thinking maybe like late summer. Probably gonna
We will
appear, but who
see. We
knows?
will
Who
see.
knows? Who knows?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's the beautiful part because right now I think is the best part of WWE of wrestling in general. I think the Rumble always get me very excited, and WrestleMania season always get me very excited, and it's going to be pretty damn awesome. I want to know where Mercedes Monet appears. If it is in WWE, good for her. If it's in AEW, good for her. I think it's awesome to see her back in wrestling, and I think Triple H is going to still trying to find his China
What are the
2.0.
chances? What are the chances that TNA's big signing is Mercedes
That will be that will be crazy, but
Moné?
that could happen.
It could happen. I don't think it will, but it could happen.
Yeah, lots of great wrestling to look forward to this weekend and
Yeah,
throughout the year.
yeah.
Alfonso, Rohit, thank you so much again for this evening. It's been very insightful. Let's wish all the best for all wrestling in
Yeah.
2024. We'll be back hopefully next week with another podcast. Don't forget to follow us, guys, on our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And yeah, we will see you next time on the next podcast. Rohit, Alfonso, thank you very much, gentlemen.
No worries as
Thank you.
always. Thank you.
See you on the next one. Ciao.
Ciao. See
Adios, chicos. Bye.
you. Ciao.